Good morning, Tobago. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawn.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Shenell Felix, and this morning we've been having a number of interesting conversations, but we continue right now as we talk about the Tobago Day celebrations that are happening. And one of the events on that calendar of events is the Assembly Legislature Youth Debate. And this morning we are chatting a bit about that with Miss Sophia Cooper, who is a special programs coordinator at the Assembly Legislature. Good morning, Miss Cooper, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Right. And so this is the what installment of the youth debate?
This youth debate has been going on for a very long time, but in terms of a consistent year-on-year hosting of the debates, it would have started 2013 and every year since then to recognize Tobago Day. The actual Tobago Day is on the 4th of December. So you're right in saying there's a calendar of events, and this is one of those occasions on the calendar where we could really dig in deep to see what Tobago has to offer.
Right. And so this youth debate is taking place on Thursday, December the 5th, and it starts at 1:30 p.m. And can persons come into the gallery and also view this debate?
Definitely so. So there is a public gallery in the chamber. So for those of you who've never been to the Assembly Legislature, it's uptown Jerningham Street. You know when you're at James Park and you look up and there's a brick building right next to where Treasury used to be? That is the Assembly Legislature building. And there's a public gallery. So whenever there are sittings, members of the public, you don't need an invitation. You could come in, you sit, and you view all sittings live. And what we want to do is to encourage a sort of understanding of how parliamentary procedures work. So that's why it's 1:30 and on a Thursday, because we want to ensure that young people have a sense of what plenary sittings are like. So for us at the Assembly Legislature, plenary sittings are usually on the fourth Thursday every month, except during the July-August recess. And while the time can change, it's usually at 1:30. So can I just, one moment, just indicate something really quickly?
Yeah.
Our regular plenary sitting for this month is actually Thursday, and it starts at 10 a.m. So we do have occasions when we have to start earlier, and that is usually an indication that it's going to be a longer sitting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that people could tune into on our social media pages or come in and view live. Same thing next week for the youth debate. You could come in, view it live or online.
Excellent. And so the theme for this year's youth debate is engage and educate at all levels. Tell us a little bit about that.
Engage and educate at all levels is a statement we use to recognize the importance of all our education and outreach programs. And so there is an umbrella collection, I suppose, in terms of a logo to capture what that looks like. So whenever we have International Women's Day debate, primary school debates, we have senior citizens, night of mystery, everything that has to do with the public engaging, educating, explaining Tobago's legislative history. That's when we use the term engage and educate at all levels. So in this instance, we're dealing specifically with high school students. And it's not to say that people below or above that age group cannot be part of the process. We want as many people as possible to cast a keen eye on what they're discussing this year, which is housing in Tobago. So for those of us who might be thinking of getting a house, building a house, seeking support from the THA in terms of planning a space for your family, those are some of the things that we expect will come up in this debate. It's about settlement, it's about housing, it's about low-cost solutions, but it's also about the challenges that prevent us from actually getting there. So we're hoping that these young people will offer some solutions that maybe we haven't thought about as yet.
All right, excellent. Well, that sounds great, and I will definitely be sure that I am tuned in to see the talent that our young persons have. Now, what are some other events that the Assembly Legislature hosts that the public can become engaged in or simply support?
Right. So we have a Facebook page, Instagram that people can check throughout the year, and that's Assembly Legislature. But for Tobago, we have different divisions in addition to the Assembly Legislature coming together to do all these activities. So for those who are into all fours, you know that the first round went ahead and well supported. We have the triathlon that's going to happen on Friday, Sports and Family Day on Saturday, and next week we have a host of other events from Monday all the way through to the end of that week. So the idea here is, again, to engage people, but we also want them to remember that the significance of Tobago Day was actually when the Assembly was reconstituted. So that's 1980, and that's why it's December 4th. And that's why Tobago Day is important. So while we're having fun, it's just to remember that this is about participatory democracy, civic mindedness, and really paying attention to what representation looks like on the island.
Right. And how does the Tobago autonomy situation and the bill that is about to go into the Parliament, how does that fall into what the youths are going to be discussing?
Excellent question.
In this debate that's happening
Excellent
next
question.
Thursday?
I think the first step for young people is to actually understand what we have now. And to do that, you have to have a hands-on understanding of the processes. So there is a Tobago House of Assembly Act. The current one is Act 40. If you go back to 1980, which is the date that Tobago Day celebration focuses on, the Tobago Day celebration is, if you check it, that 1980 period is actually Act 37. So the THA looked a bit different then. So there have been changes. But how many people can actually track what has happened and where we need to go? So, you know, there's a saying, if you don't know where you come from, you know, anywhere will take you to where you think you need to go. So we have to know our history before we could determine where exactly we want these new bills to go. And for young people, that might kind of fly over your heads, but with something like a youth debate where you're put through the paces of parliamentary procedures, then you understand what an act is supposed to allow you to do. So for me, it's to encourage young people to get involved, but get involved to the extent that you actually know what's happening now, and then give a sense of what you would like to see when these bills come before Parliament.
Excellent. And even as we round up this morning's discussion, is there anything that you want to tell the public as it relates to this youth debate that's happening next Thursday?
Right. So Tobago, in terms of the Assembly, would be 44 in 24. And that's something that people should remember when you attend any of the Tobago Day celebrations. We know that you're going to have fun. We know that people are going to come together and be, you know, it's about sharing and loving and just expressing yourself. But 44 in 24 is something that we want people to remember, because Tobago Day is about Tobago and about people being part of this democratic process that we have on the island. So the youth debate next Thursday, that's the 5th of December, 1:30 p.m. in the Chamber, Uptown Jerningham Street.
All right, excellent. You heard it here, guys, and that's the flyer that's there on the screen, and you can get all the information that you want. But most importantly, you can follow the Tobago Legislature on their social media pages to get more insight. And there is a number that you can contact there if you just want to take a visit to the Assembly Legislature or get more information. Okay, so we want to thank you so much, Ms. Cooper, and we're going to take a quick break right here. We're going to be back with much more this morning. See you soon.